Jackie, and I'm going to be showing you the do's and the don'ts while showing your visual aids and presenting. I'm doing my speech on pollution, and my visual aid is all going to be on my computer. I'm going to have a slideshow that's going to show pictures and some charts and some data tables, but all of my visual aids will be on my computer. And one of the main things for my speech, since I'm doing mine on the computer, or if you're using any monitor screen like a TV behind you to do your slideshow or anything like that, you want to make sure that it's to the side of you so you're not like this. Even if you're shy, you don't want to be like that. You want to make sure that they can still see you, and you also want to make sure that you don't have a picture present while you are talking about stuff, because it might be distracting and they might not listen to you. They might be paying attention to your picture. And also, if you're doing a slideshow, you want to make sure that there's a blank slide in between each thing, so that way when you're skipping through, so my first slide is on right now, and it's just a blank white screen, but then when I scroll over, I have my pictures, and then a blank one, and then I have another visual aid. So it's it makes it nice just so I can have that blank screen in between each visual aid, so each of my pictures. And another thing that you should do is maintain eye contact with your audience, or well, in this case, with your camera while you're talking, and you're not, staring at your visual aid, or you don't turn it and try to look at it, even though my visual aid isn't up right now, it's just a blank screen. But this is one of my visual aids, and it just shows some water pollution. It just shows oil in the stream. And so I'll go back to my blank page. And then you also want to make sure that your visual aid makes sense with what you're talking about. So it wouldn't make sense for me to put a picture of a bagel on my thing if I'm talking about pollution. It doesn't make sense. And you also need to make sure that they can see your visual aid. So since we can't use poster boards or pictures or anything, I don't think that'll be a problem, but still you want to make sure that your audience can see. And then you want to point out the important stuff. So for example, I'm going to be showing some data tables and charts. So I'm going to be pointing out I'll just use my finger since I have a separate laptop here. I'm just going to point out some important things or some key things so you guys can follow along. Just in case you're not familiar with the topic, you might get a little lost. And then you just need to make sure that you speak towards the audience. Again, you're not, turning and looking over here and trying to look at it while you're looking at your visual aid, just because you're not speaking towards the audience. It might be hard for them to hear you. And then some don'ts. I already said you don't want to use a printed out picture or a poster board, and you don't want the visual aid to be overwhelming. So you don't want, if you're doing a slideshow, you don't want a ton of things on one slide, because then you're talking about that one thing for a long time, and you have to point out each individual thing, and it might be hard. And here, I'll click over to my visual aids. And then you also don't want to stare at your visual aid while you're talking. I already said that. And you want to try to avoid the glare. So I know it's kind of hard because your camera does a automatic lighting type of thing, but especially if you're using a TV or you're using a computer screen, you want to make sure that there's no glare, just because it'll be hard for the audience to see your visual aid. And then you want to just try to make it so your phone, there's a setting, if you're doing it on your phone or your laptop, you can make it so it doesn't adjust the lighting to what you're doing. So maybe if you guys know how to do that, you can try to turn it off. And yeah, I think that's just some basic do's and don'ts when presenting your visual aid. And if you're doing it like me and you're showing it on your laptop, then this might come in handy for you.